What is the main purpose of a living will? My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm an estate planning and business law attorney with offices in Edina, Minnesota and New York City. Today, let's take a look at one of those other documents in your estate plan, one that you don't always hear about when you're reading blogs, but a document that can be very important for you. So when we're talking about estate plan documents, there's usually three different categories that we encounter. Category number one is going to be documents that say what happens after you're gone. So after you've died, what are we doing with your assets? Where are your children going to go if we're appointing a guardian if they're under 18? Are we appointing a trustee to manage money for them? Do we have other directives that we want to have happen after we're gone? Category number two, financial documents while you're still alive. These will be things like powers of attorney that say if I become incapacitated, I'm going to have my spouse or my eldest child be able to take over and manage the financial decisions for me. And the third category, healthcare decisions while I'm still alive. And this is one of those situations where the living will come into play. So healthcare documents can be a healthcare power of attorney, a HIPAA authorization for access to medical records, and today's document, a living will. So a living will is a document that says what happens if you become incapacitated. And it's sometimes referred to as an advance directive or a medical directive or sometimes a DNR, like a do-not-resuscitate. And what this means is if you've become incapacitated and you're unable to speak for yourself, you've written a document that says what you would like to have happen at that time. What kind of treatment would you like to have? So what it does is serves as direction for your loved ones, for your family members, or for whoever's going to be making decisions for you, so they know what you would want to do when that time comes, or frankly, if that time comes. So a lot of clients will ask me, what has to go in a living will? Should I be concerned about this document? I've never actually seen it or heard before. A few common provisions we see in living wills, whether or not you want to receive life-sustaining treatments like ventilation, feeding tubes, things like that. You can have a provision about whether or not you wish to receive palliative care, which is designed to alleviate symptoms for you when there's really no other treatments available to help you get better. You can have a provision about whether or not you would like to receive pain management medications. And finally, you can also have a provision about whether or not you want to be an organ donor, which many of my clients find interesting that the organ donation seems to show up in almost all of your estate plan documents. You can have it in your living will, it can be in a healthcare power of attorney, it can show up in your actual will, and sometimes it even shows up on your driver's license, depending upon the state you live in. So it seems to me that organ donation is one of those things that they really want you to be clear whether you're donating organs or not. Now, one issue you need to consider is that not all states allow for living wills to be considered legally binding. So in that case, you want to make sure you understand the rules and the laws in the state where you live. You also want to make sure that in addition to a living will, you have a healthcare power of attorney or a healthcare directive that appoints a person to make decisions for you. This can be particularly challenging if you're not married. So if you're a single person and you're sick in the hospital, there's not always necessarily the right person for the doctors to speak to about who should be giving you medical care and what will be happening next. So when we have a healthcare power of attorney, that can tell somebody, it can tell the doctors, the hospitals, the nurses, we should be talking to this person about the treatment plan. And then your living will can help that person because you're essentially giving them directions before you get sick about what you would like to have happen in case you become sick. Finally, it's also very important that we review and update our living will periodically. So you may have one theory on a living will and treatments for yourself when you're in your 20s, and that may be very different when you're in your 50s or 60s. So like any estate planning document, we recommend you review it every few years and make sure we have the right people in the right roles, we have the right directions in the case of a living will. If you have more questions about living wills or other estate plan documents, you can go to my website, andrewmayers.com. There's a red legal strategy session button on the front page. If you click it, you'll be taken to my scheduling page where we can set up a strategy session. It's usually a 15 or 20 minute phone call to discuss where you are in the process, your questions about a living will or other estate planning documents. If you like this video, you can hit the like or thumbs up button below. You can check out the channel on YouTube and subscribe for future videos. And hopefully you understand now that the living will can be a very important part of your estate planning documents, one that you shouldn't be ignoring.